In today's podcast episode, I wanted to take a little look back into my past and talk about my uni experience. So I went to uni when I was 18, as most people do here in the UK. That is generally the age you go, but some people take a gap year and maybe go a little bit older, and there are also mature students as well. But I personally went when I was 18, straight out of sixth form. And so for me, that was 2018. That's when I was 18. So I started university of September 2018, and I went to the University of Exeter, which wasn't too far from where I'm actually from. So I live near Bristol, so not too far. Exeter wasn't too far for me. So I remember uni wasn't something that I'd really considered a lot and considered going. So my two older sisters went to uni, and that was it in terms of siblings. I have 7 siblings, 2 of them went to uni, and now one of my younger siblings has also gone to uni, so that is 4 of us in total went to uni. And yeah, I'd never really considered it, and I remember when I did, and it was when I'd started sixth form, so I was 16, and we went to a university like open day, and I'd made a friend who was really uni focused and really wanted to go to Cambridge. Spoiler, she did go to Cambridge, she got in. And I think, yeah, being friends of her, going to this open day, and also kind of just not knowing what I would do is what led me to make the decision to go. And I studied drama because that was my favourite subject, so it made sense to me at that point as an 18-year-old. So as I said, I went to Exeter, and so September 2018 I packed my bags and off I went, and I honestly did not know what was coming. I remember being a bit nervous, but mostly just excited to, do something new and for this next stage in my life. Most of my friends were also going to uni as well, so we were all, going through the same things. Although all in different places, no one I knew closely went to Exeter. There were a few people from my school who also went, but we weren't friends. And I got there and I moved into my flat, in my student flat. I was in Duriard, student accommodation in Exeter. I was in Duriard, and I moved in and I had Freshers Week, and I felt terrible and I hated it. I felt so insanely homesick, to the point of actually feeling physically sick. And I remember every day in Freshers Week, I'd go out every day, they had like scheduled events that were on to mingle and stuff. I'd go and do all of those and be fine in public. But then as soon as I got to my flat, went in my room, I'd just cry. Like, that's all I remember. Feeling so homesick. And I met my flatmates and they were lovely, and there were 2 girls specifically in my flat who I became very good friends with, and we're still friends now. But yeah, that beginning bit I found incredibly hard, incredibly difficult. And for me, all these feelings of the difficult situation I was in, it was all coming from the social aspect. So in terms of the course, I was loving it. I really enjoyed it. I started doing it in first term and I was really enjoying it. I was loving doing reading. I was enjoying what we were looking at, enjoying going to the classes and all of that. But for me, it was really the social aspect. And I just remember desperately feeling like I didn't fit in. And then also desperately feeling homesick, and just everything mixed together. And it was such a big change. And I remember I'd call up my parents quite a lot, crying, being like, I can't do this, I don't want to do this feels horrible, this feels wrong, this feels bad. And I remember not wanting to do it, wanting to leave, but also not knowing what I'd do if I did leave. It was kind of like, I'm doing this because I kind of felt like I had nothing else to do, so what would I do if I did leave? And my parents were very nice and very supportive, and kind of said, well, why don't you give it until the end of first term? Why don't you see through first term and see what happens? And I'm so happy that I did, because as soon as I got into second term, everything changed and it was a whole lot better. it was so much better. I think all it was is in first term I hadn't formed, I suppose, a community. I didn't have a community there, so I felt very alone. I didn't know anyone. I felt like I didn't fit in. I felt very different from the people on my course, and a lot of the people on my course and a lot of the people at Exeter, which I didn't know this before going there, went to private school, which is not a problem, but I didn't. And so, you know, we were different economically, but also I felt that we were just different in terms of our education. And there were a few people who didn't go to private school in drama, but I think I counted and there were like 4 of us in a subject that had like 200 or something. Yeah, so that made me feel really out of place. But yeah, I think it was just the lack of community and loneliness, and I have a big family. I'm used to living with a lot of people, and there would be a lot of nights where I'd come home to the flat and I wouldn't see any of my flatmates. And I became friends with my flatmates, and as I said, the 2 girls still besties with right now. I love them, but they weren't the most social people, especially in the beginning, and I feel like they had to be coaxed out a little bit. So yeah, but I pushed through, I stayed, and second term was just worlds better and worlds different. And I think it was because I'd been building that community, forming those connections, so I'd, you know, become better friends with my 2 flatmates, made friends on the course, and, you know, started to have this little community, I suppose. And I made a friend who was on my course, and we just clicked like this and became best friends. And I think having her as a friend, and we also ended up in the same class together. I think that's how we met. So we're in the same class together as well in second term, and we'd go out together all the time. And I think making her as a friend, that's when I really started to feel that I belonged, and I started to feel really good, because it was like, no, I have someone here who has my back, and my flatmates had my back, and I love them, but they weren't on my course, so they couldn't be with me all the time. But I made this friend, and I was so happy to have her as a friend, and also, yeah, made other friends on my course as well. And things just got a whole lot better, and the rest of first year was really fun. Had my first, like, I suppose, proper heartbreak. I feel like I had a heartbreak before that when I was in secondary school, but does it really count? I don't know. I was really young, but this was like, I suppose, a real one, or it felt like a real one for me. Went through that, loved that. Yeah, that like started at the end of first year and then ended at the beginning of second year. So yeah, first year did end up being really fun, and I just remember first term me thinking, how can I do this for 3 years? Like, how can I do this? I remember it literally felt like a prison sentence, that I would have to be here for 3 years. And now looking back, that feels so crazy to me, because those 3 years went so fast and they were so fun, and I had an amazing time, and I don't regret it. So it's just crazy how far I came, I suppose. Then second year was great and so much fun. I remember coming into September with a renewed sense of kind of excitement, just so excited for the year, excited to see all the friends and all the connections I had made. And I vividly remember moving into our new flat for second year. So I lived with 2 girls that I mentioned, and then 2 boys who were friends of one of the girls who we all became friends with. And I vividly remember us moving into the flat, and it had just been summer, and we were reuniting, and we sat and we just spoke of all the like gossip over summer and everything that happened, and it was just so nice and so fun. And I remember feeling so kind of secure and set for the beginning of second year, and just really excited for everything that it would bring and everything to come. And it was really, really fun. I had a really, really nice second year. I remember I wasn't put, they did this thing in drama where you chose like classes, you chose options of what you kind of wanted to study, but it wasn't guaranteed you get what you wanted. And I remember I didn't get what I wanted. I think I got my third choice or my second choice, so that was a bit mad, but I still had a good time with it. And I remember being put in a new class, and I ended up doing applied theatre, which is when it's essentially a theatre that goes into like a community space, so like prison or a school or like a community club, something like that, where performers would be there. And we got put into a group, and I really liked the people that were in my group, and we did a piece about history, and we did it about Egypt, ancient Egypt, which was really, really fun to create. Didn't ever get to perform it because of COVID, so we were cut short a little bit. So second year, the first 2 terms, amazingly fun, had a great time, even though suffered my first like heartbreak, I suppose, and kind of going through it in that area. But it was like every other area is just so fun and nice, and I'm having a fun time that it didn't matter. And then the end of second term, or nearly the end, I think we're probably about 2 or 3 weeks from the end of that term, that's when COVID hit, and that's when we all had to go home and uni became online, I suppose. But for drama at Exeter in the third term, we basically don't do anything. Like, all there is in the third term is you might have some essay deadlines at the beginning, and then that's it. And then people would kind of just put on their own shows, and me and 2 friends from my course did have a plan to put on a show, and we were so excited, and it was going to be so good. And that did end up just getting taken away from us because of COVID, which sucks. We did it in third year. I feel like it wasn't the same because it was still COVID tainted. It's not how it would have been if COVID never happened, but it did. So but yeah, so that third term that I spent at home because of COVID and I was in lockdown, it pretty much was just doing nothing, as in academically. Like, I didn't have anything that I needed to do. I had a few assignments to finish, but finished those within the first month of COVID, and then I think we were in lockdown for 3 months. So yeah, 2 months of just rotting basically, which is definitely what I did. And then we go back for third year, move into a new house, and same living situation, except we added 1 more girl. So there's 1 boy from the previous house, and then another girl who was a friend of one of my friends. But obviously we all became friends because we lived together. And third year was really fun as well. It was definitely tainted by COVID a lot, especially in the fact that no clubs were open and you just couldn't go out basically. Like, you could go out, you could go to the pub, and you could go to like Turtle Bay, and that was kind of it. And obviously do stuff in your house, but also the rules kept changing. It kept being like only 6 people allowed, or no household contamination, and the rules just kept changing in the UK. So it was like a bit of a mess. But despite not being able to go out at all, and some classes being online and stuff, we still had a really nice time, managed to make the most of it. We did a lot of stuff in our house, drinking with 6 people because that's what we were allowed to do, and still managed to have a really, really nice time. And we all were writing our dissertations, which was very interesting. And yeah, third year I did feel very secure again, just like second year, but it was also all maybe a bit weird because it was like COVID tainted and things weren't exactly the same as they were in second year. And I do feel like a lot of the kind of connections that I'd made in second year kind of died because of COVID, because we couldn't go out and we couldn't mingle as much. They weren't upkept, which is a shame, but it's just, it's what happens. It's what happens when there's a global pandemic. Unfortunately, there's going to be some losses. So yeah, there are things that definitely were products of COVID, but that's kind of, what can you do? I remember there was a lot of online kind of events and like online quizzes like on Zoom, and like, yeah, just a lot of stuff like that, a lot of online chats and stuff, because that's all we could really do. But it was still a really fun time. I still managed to have a fun time and make a lot of memories, and the house that we had for third year I really loved. It was so nice. It was very close to the uni, less close to town. Second year we were closer to town than the uni, which kind of worked out perfectly because obviously in third year we were never going out, so we didn't need to be close to the clubs, whereas in second year we were going out all the time. So it kind of worked in our favour, although that walk to uni in second year was hell. It was like 40-minute walk there and back every time I had to go in. That was a bit much, but yeah, it was what it was. And in third year, as well as a dissertation in drama, you did like a practical piece, and usually, minus COVID, this would be a performance that you do in front of everyone, but because of COVID it was going to be online, and you got put into a group and you were making a piece. And that bestie that I spoke about at the beginning, who I met in first year, who we met in drama and kind of clicked straight away, we were in the same group, and it was so fun. And our group was interesting. It was an interesting group of people, but we decided, because it had to be online, and it was kind of like, if you wanted to do like a traditional like play, I suppose, it would be on Zoom, which we were kind of like, don't know if we want to do that, or it would be like a recording, like a film. So we decided to do an audio play, because we didn't really want to have to just make something on Zoom. It felt, even though the pandemic had been, I guess it'd been over a year actually of it, Zoom felt so stale and like used, and we just didn't want to do that. So we ended up doing an audio play, which was really fun, and we got really good marks for it because it was really good, if I say so myself, and it ended up being really cool. And that was a very, very enjoyable experience. It was definitely interesting, definitely stressful at times, because we were an interesting group, but I did have 2 friends in it, in the group, which was quite nice, and we made something really cool and got a really good mark for it, so can't complain too much. Also in second year I started studying film, because as I said, you were allowed to kind of choose things, and you could either do like a drama theory or you could do a different subject. So I opted to do film because I love film, and so did my bestie. We both did film and we were in the same class, and that was just such a nice time. And in film you'd go to a screening once a week to watch a movie, and we'd go to this screening every week with a can of Coke, chilling, watching this movie, and it was just such a good time. We watched some really, really good movies that I still love now. And then I also did film in third year. Less fun because it was all online and I wasn't in a class with my friend, but it was still nice to study film. But on my second year I also did a video essay in film as part of the module, and that was so fun. And I remember just spending so much time on it. I think I was finishing it, we were in lockdown when I was finishing it, I believe. So much time. I edited it to death, like meticulously, because it had to be a certain length, and I remember mine was too long and I had to keep cutting and like just cutting like the music and stuff, because I wanted it to be a film, you know, I wanted it to be a video essay but also visually pleasing, and also, you know, have nice music and all of this stuff. And I remember just editing it and spending so much time on it, and it paid off. I got a first on it and I was just very happy with the end result. And my film lecturer was actually like, yeah, I love this, can I use it as an example in the future? I like to show people. I was like, yeah, yes you can, like that's so nice to hear that you want to use it as an example. So I wonder if she still uses that now. Maybe she does. So that was really nice as well, to study film as well as drama, because I love drama. I mean, I chose to study it and I did really enjoy the course. However, the theory didn't love as much. I think all the theory that you do in first year, which is compulsory, is really interesting and really cool. It kind of just puts drama into the perspective of the world. So we did like a module on feminism, a module on postmodernism, a module on post-colonialism, queer theatre, just a lot of stuff like that. Really like, yeah, placing drama within the context, which was very, I think that's even what the module was called, something in context or something. That was really cool, and I think informative to place it in the context. Me as a little 18-year-old, like learning all these concepts was definitely very interesting. But as I said, I wasn't as into the theory, which is why I opted to do film, and it was very nice to kind of have some separation and some difference, and also to meet some film people. Not that we really made friends with that many, because we didn't. We invited one, this boy, who we ended up, me and my bestie ended up working on a group project with him, and then we invited him to this Christmas party that my flat had, and I think and he showed up, which we were surprised, we didn't think he would. And I think we just spent the entirety of the party, not purposefully, accidentally making him feel uncomfortable, and then he left. So, you know, swings and roundabouts there. Hopefully he still had a nice time. He stayed for a bit, but I think at the end it was just like, this is too much for me now. I'm gonna leave, which absolutely fair enough from him. But yeah, just looking back on my uni experience, it was so fun, and I learned so much, and I changed so much, and I met some friends for life who I'm still friends with now. Mainly the girls, so mainly it's 3 girls, 2 that I lived with, and then my drama bestie, who are my best friends. I've just spent a weekend with one of them, literally the weekend just gone, and yeah, met great people. Still try and keep in touch with some of the other people as well, but you know, things get harder as you get older, and like, obviously none of us live in the same place because we all just moved to Exeter, so it gets a bit harder, I suppose. But I just had such a great time, and yeah, looking back, it feels like it was so long ago and it went so fast, but it also feels like it was yesterday, and I can remember a lot of it so vividly. But I do just think it's crazy that at 18 we're like, yeah, go to uni and study something, and choose to study something, because how at 18, how do I know that? And I chose drama, which I don't regret, but I'm not necessarily doing that now. I'm not necessarily super interested in that now. I am still. I'd say I'm more interested in film and production, and I guess there's still elements that we, you know, covered in drama. But it's just crazy, isn't it? And then it's so expensive, and you just get yourself into debt over kind of a choice you make at 18. But again, no regrets. Had a really good time. I found it so fun. I almost, and maybe this is bad to say, but it's almost, I think it was more worth it for the memories rather than the degree. I mean, I've got a degree and that's cool, but the fun times and the memories were kind of, I value them higher, because I don't think my degree has really gotten me anything yet. As of yet, maybe I'm just not using it. Maybe that's my fault. But the memories and the people are the things that stand out for me most, and the things that I kind of remember most. And yeah, it's just interesting to look back on it now. Now I'm 25, and yeah, I graduated when I was 21. So it's been nearly 4 years, which is crazy. I just think, like, where have the 4 years gone, and what have I actually done? And we won't go down that line of thinking, because it can become a bit depressing potentially, but you know, a lot has actually happened in those 4 years. And yeah, I just think about 18-year-old me who felt so homesick, and I'm just very happy that she stuck it out, and you know, she dealt with that homesickness, she dealt with the feelings of anxiety and of not fitting in, and that she really put herself out there, because I really put myself out there at the beginning, because I was feeling all these negative feelings, but I thought, okay, well, the only way to change this is to change it. So I kept putting myself out there and putting myself in positions to meet new people and make a community, and it did pay off. Maybe not from, there's definitely specific times where I put myself out there and then like I had a good time, and it's like a memory and it's a story, but it didn't necessarily lead to like genuine friendships, I suppose. But you know, it's still a story, it's for the plot. Yeah, I'm just so grateful that she decided to stick out and that she got through it, because little did she know after that first term it would get really, really great. And just imagine if I'd left, I never would have met my bestie, basically, which, like, I can't imagine life without her right now. So yeah, I am grateful. And also looking back just makes me remember kind of all the stories that I have, all the little story times, because a lot of stuff happened. A lot of stuff happened at uni every year. Like, so many things happened. I feel like we just always had drama in the groups that we were in. Just stuff's always happening, like, 18-year-old going on 19, going on 20s, going on 21s, like, just all discovering who we are and getting drunk and studying. There's going to be like some drama that goes down, and there was definitely lots. And I'm very lucky because past me made these like little videos that kind of detailed every single thing that happened at uni, and I think I did one for every year. Yeah, I think, did I do one for third year? I maybe even did one for third year, which I need to rewatch these. And my plan is that I'll probably do another podcast episode of kind of uni story times and things that happened, because I feel like it's been long enough now that I can talk about these things and certain people. But I just find it really funny to revisit, because I don't know, the me who was in all these stories, like, she's still me, but I feel so different. I feel like I feel far enough removed that I can, look back and just laugh and think, that was crazy, and that was funny, and that was ironic. Because I swear, especially in second year, this was, so many things happened where I just thought, right, someone is playing a joke now, like, my life is actually a farce, because why do all these things keep happening, and why am I seeing this person and this person in the same place and they're together, and like, yeah, just so many things were happening that were just hilarious at the time and hilarious now looking back, and just absolute crazy. So I'll hopefully do a podcast episode just talking about some of the stories, taking a little trip down memory lane of what I got up to when I was at Exeter, and yeah, just taking a look back at some of the very memorable times. But before I did that, I just wanted to give a little overview of kind of my journey and what happened. I feel like it was still quite a surface level overview, because I'm still like putting myself back in that time and trying to remember everything, because it was nearly 4 years ago, so it was a while ago, and that makes me feel old, that it was nearly 4 years ago. And it also makes me feel like I need to message all the people that I went to uni with that I liked and be like, hey, what's going on, how are you, and see if they want to like meet up or something, because that would be really nice to meet up and chat and reminisce, would be really nice. But yeah, I just wanted to do this little overview, and at some point I will do an episode where we go a little bit deeper into the gory details of what happened, and the drama, and just the fun, like, silly things, like the things that me and my uni friends who I'm still friends with still discuss to this day, and still are like, oh my god, do you remember when that thing happened? Like, how crazy was that? How crazy was that? But yeah, that's about it for today. It's a bit of a shorter one, just because, yeah, I kept it surface level, didn't go too deep into exactly what happened every year. And also, I think I'm getting a cold and I think I'm losing my voice, so I should probably stop talking. But thank you so much for listening. This has been the third episode of the podcast. I'm so excited to do way more episodes. I have a lot of ideas of thoughts that I just want to discuss and think about, and yes, also, as I've said, have stories that I would like to share and kind of immortalize, so that I can, watch in the future and be like, oh yeah, that happened at uni and that's hilarious. And just remember my memories that I may have forgotten. But that is it from me today. Bye.